So let's move our way in to the first new subject of the day. And that is, let's talk about the video game Cadence of Hyrule. This came out in 2019, and it allowed the developers of Crypt of the Necrodancer, which is an indie game, which is kind of an RPG based off of it's a rhythm game RPG hybrid. Nintendo allowed them to make a Zelda game that had the same style. Like, this is unheard of. Nintendo really had never let other companies work with their IP in the modern age. That changed in 2017 with Ubisoft and Mario plus Rayman's, and then it changed even further, letting an indie company work with them, work with Zelda, arguably Nintendo's second biggest IP, for Cadence of Hyrule. And then we got pretty much nothing. Of course, we had like Starlink had like a Star Fox thing in 2018, but I would love to see more indie games made by indie developers featuring Nintendo's iconic IP. And I think everyone's kind of with me on that idea. Like, that's super cool. Like, there's just so many cool ideas. And there's so many, in fact, that today, each of us have one indie game we've picked and one Nintendo franchise that we'd like to pair with that. And we're going to explain those ideas for you today. If you've played these indie games, great. You'll kind of understand how it'll work. If not, we'll do our best to describe them. I think I'm starting it off here with an Image & Forms classic. Not SteamWorld Dig, but SteamWorld Heist. In my opinion, one of, if not the best games in the SteamWorld franchise. So the way this works is it's a turn-based RPG, which is not something I normally like, but they handle it absolutely perfectly. You start off invading a ship because you're like these space pirates. Sound familiar? And then you go in and you take turns and you aim your little arm cannon and you shoot and you try and do ricochet shots off the walls to kill the enemies. And the enemies during their turn can move a certain amount of spaces and then come and shoot you. I think this thing is super cool. It's super duper fun. And it reminds me so much of Metroid, man. Even the main character, I think her name is Piper in SteamWorld Heist, she kind of looks like Samus in the suit. I swear, everything about this game kind of reminds me of Metroid, and I would love to see Image & Form Games get the Metroid license and be able to make a game like this, including Metroid. Like, look at that. Piper Faraday. She looks kind of like Samus. Like, am I wrong in saying that? She's got, like, the orange tint, at least. I don't know.
A bit.
They're in, like, a space thing. Look, you can kind of aim where you want to shoot. Headshots obviously do more damage. You can do ricochet shots. There's so much strategy to this game, and it would give us kind of a second 2D Metroid on Switch, because I don't know if we're getting another new 2D Metroid on Switch. I'd say probably not, because we got Metroid Dread, and maybe they remake, like, Super Metroid in that style, but this would give us a new 2D Metroid on Switch, but in a completely different style, but one that's equally as fun, in my opinion. I think this game is so sick.
I think that's a great idea. More Metroid's always a good thing, in my opinion, and I think, this game, I love its art style. It feels like kind of like Celeste-ish with its art style, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's got the same colors as Celeste, I would say, like very vibrant neon colors, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's hand drawn. I guess it is. It's all like 2D art assets, but they're layered on top of each other in a way where there's some serious like visual depth and visual like interesting like it's just an interesting looking game. It's an interesting playing game. There's a lot of strategy to it, and yeah, you can tell a great story with this style of game too, because they do in SteamWorld Heist. It's a fun story. You like can recruit new bounty hunters, and you have like a hub world, which is your main ship, and then you select which bounty hunters you want to take on which mission. You can 3-star every mission, so there's a bunch of replayability, and like all of this, I'm hearing all of this and just thinking this, but as a Metroid game, would be super cool. Like, you could get other like space bounty hunters, because that's not something they, like Samus very rarely has like allies in Metroid games. And I guess this would give them a chance to do that. Like, I don't know. I think this game fits the Metroid style nearly perfectly. And it would just be a great way to get another Metroid on Switch, because as it stands, we're getting Prime 4. We're probably getting a Prime trilogy, maybe at most another 2D Metroid in the form of a remake. But since we got Dread after so many years, again, I don't think we're getting a new 2D Metroid on Switch unless
and that was a huge success. So
yeah, Dread was exactly. That's another great point. Like, Dread was a huge success. Prime 4 is probably going to be a big success because Nintendo has been, waiting so long. They're trying to make this one truly right. They've switched development teams, all that, giving it to Retro. Also, there have been rumors of a Metroid Prime 1 complete ground-up remake instead of just a Metroid Prime Trilogy HD port. Yeah. So, I don't know. A Metroid game in the style of SteamWorld Heist, that would be a day one purchase for me. One of my favorite indie games of all time, and it's just an absolute banger game, absolute banger idea, in my opinion. I think that would work
a great
really,
idea.
really well.
Yeah.
Would be sick, for sure.
Sure.
Mac, I think you're up next. I'm excited to hear what you got cooking up in the lab, so to speak.
Yeah, that's a good pun. So, Overcooked, probably one of my favorite party games to play on the Switch. It's just like, it everybody knows how to like play it. Like off the top, you just kind of you get the recipes. It's kind of like a kind of like a Cooking Mama game that people used to play back on their old like flip phones and stuff. It's super simple, and with a casual audience, I think goes another casual franchise, so to say, Kirby. Kirby fits perfectly with this game because it's food related. Like what is he doing? He's inhaling food, but you don't play as Kirby. You play as Waddle Dees cooking the food, and then all of a sudden you have a bunch of Kirbys coming in and they're hungry and they're mad and they want some food. And you got to feed them in time or else they're going to suck you and shoot you out into the distance. So you got to be ready. What do you guys think about that?
That's awesome. And that
actually sounds really
that's something
fun.
that could happen because the new Kirby game, like Kirby has always been not afraid to make like those smaller
Spin-off-ish games,
titles.
yeah.
The new one is like only $15. It's multiplayer focused, like this would be. I think that's a great. I love the twist of playing as a Waddle Dee, and then the Kirby is the hungry
almost
guy.
kind of
Really
like a zombie Call of Duty like wave system where like you got a bunch of Kirbys coming in and then you like relax for a bit and then more Kirbys come in. I think it's like a slam dunk, honestly.
Yeah, that's a great idea. It just goes to show, man, the indie developers have such great ideas. Giving them the license to these games, or to these franchises, I mean, like these iconic characters, that would be super sick. Overcooked is also like Overcooked 2 is one of the best-selling Switch games. It's sold over 1 million units. One of the rare indie games on Switch to do that. It's constantly in the Switch's bestseller list, so that, it makes complete sense. You already got Overcooked 1 and 2 on Switch. I don't know if they're making a third one. I don't think so, at least.
I think they just put out DLC like a year ago or something for one of them.
Yeah, that tracks. That tracks. They're still updating because again, so many people play. So why not keep updating? Updating these games. PJ, you ever play Overcooked or no? Oh, sorry.
I did a little bit with one of my friends like a bunch of years ago, but I think I played Overcooked 1 for like half an hour. But no, what I was gonna say was like that's actually a great idea, and also it would be an opportunity like similar to like Rayman and the Rabbids to kind of like grow the Waddle Dee fan base kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because it's that same sort of opportunity. Like, what if there was like the Waddle Dee games the same way that we see that there's like the Rabbid games now, right? So. It's an interesting opportunity for sure. Yeah.
And I think what's cool about playing as a Waddle Dee is that if after a couple games you can start customizing your character, you can like get different bandanas, you can have like change. I think it's a great idea. Also, I've got a killer name for it. Kirby's Lunch Rush.
That's pretty bang. That's banger.
Yeah,
that's actually a banger.
Yeah.
This is probably the most realistic out of I don't know PJ's at all, but
I agree.
This is probably the most realistic out of the choices. Because I saw you put the Overcooked trailer in the Discord, but I was thinking like what Nintendo game mixes with, for some reason Kirby just did it seems so obvious now in hindsight. But Kirby didn't even come to my mind when I was thinking about that. I was like, what? Like I was thinking Mario, no, like maybe Zelda like at the castle, but no, it didn't I don't know. I couldn't think of one. I thought you were gonna go with Animal Crossing, maybe like an Animal Crossing mini game.
Yeah, I could see that.
True.
Kirby works the best by far.
Yeah.
Like Kirby's Lunch Rush, that would actually work too. Like that's I don't know. I think that's really really realistic because you can put so many gimmicks in there. Sure. Like I'm just thinking, what if there's one level where you're out in wispy woods and the tree that like blows things like every once in a while it will blow all the plates off, so you got to start over. Like there's
that's
so
a great
much
idea. Yeah,
there's so many
much
gimmicks.
you can
There's
do
so
with
many,
that. Yeah,
exactly, bro. Exactly. Yeah, I love that idea. You're winning
most
so
possible
far.
out of the entire list for sure. Yeah, that's a sick idea. That's definitely a sick idea. All right, so next up, I have my game, so to say. So this is actually the gameplay you're seeing on screen right now. This is Curse to Golf. We played this at PAX. Obviously, the three of us went to PAX East
game.
in April. Yep, very fun. Amazing game, yeah. But I'm proposing, what if the Curse to Golf concept was actually Mario? Now, recently in Mario sports history, I don't know if anyone's been following, but that series has been kind of dormant. It's these half-baked games have been released, and there's people begging for characters from past rosters, and that's being added in free updates. So I think a 2D Mario golf game similar to Cursed to Golf, maybe not the same like cursed concept, but just the concept of a 2D Mario like golf game would be kind of sick, because not only is the Mario sports franchise dormant, the 2D Mario franchise is dormant, because obviously we got new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe for the Wii U, and that was a port, but the last newest 2D Mario game came out in 2012 for the Wii U. So this would be an interesting change up for sure. Obviously Curse to Golf, love that game. So if it was like a 2D spin of, like a Mario sports game, like I think that could be really interesting, shake up the franchise and stuff like that. So yeah, what do you guys think? Because I know you guys really enjoyed Curse to Golf.
Yeah,
at
I
PAX
loved
for sure.
Curse to Golf. I think it would work so well with Mario, because I'm pretty sure there hasn't been a 2D Mario sports game at all.
You're right. I believe you're right.
I think.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
going back to like
style,
the
at
NES, NES, but there was still like it was going. I feel like a side scroller sports game would just be.
Correct, yeah.
I think it would be so cool. And I think it would sell a lot better if it was Mario themed, obviously, because Mario. I just loved Curse to Golf, so I think putting it with Mario would be great.
Yep.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's a very interesting way to revive 2D Mario. Because 2D Mario is very like Mario Maker, but like everyone agrees that since Mario Maker 2 exists and you can even make your own worlds in that game, 2D Mario needs a huge shakeup. So while obviously I don't think people would consider this like a mainline 2D Mario game, it would be a way to get that 2D Mario fixed. Because like what if you shoot your golf ball and then you have to like move your character and platform over like to get to the ball to shoot it again? Like there's a lot of very interesting ways they could take this. And Curse to Golf, I mean this in the most complimentary way possible. That is the only game I played at PAX where it's like, this feels like the same quality of like a full Nintendo release. Like you could tell the creativity there was on full display. The items they were, coming out with were like,
and this game is on the Switch,
everything.
by the way.
It is.
Yeah,
If you have not, if you haven't picked up
out.
Curse to Golf,
do it.
I would pick up that game. I bought it. Unfortunately I've not even surpassed to where I was in the demo. I've just been busy. But as soon as I get moved into college and all that, because I'm moving in like in a week, I will be grinding this game because it's just so fun, man. It is an absolute blast, and honestly, this is kind of a cheat code because you put this with the game itself is so fun. You put this with any franchise, it would be a banger. But of course, Mario Golf, like no one talks about Mario Golf Super Rush, man. That game came out and went. Like no one even talks about Strikers anymore, and that was like a couple months ago.
The issue is that small rant about sports games. The issue is that it just feels different from the prime of like the Wii days, because I think we can agree like Nintendo sports like across the line, that includes Wii Sports even, peaked on the Wii. Like there's really no debate here. You have Mario Super Sluggers on the Wii Sports Resort, and then you get Strikers Charge, like some of the most beloved Nintendo sports games like of all time. And then, you get to the Switch era where, you see these like sports games and they're getting these free updates, and it's like these shadow drops. It's like, oh, you forgot about this game. Hey, by the way, in Strikers, here's Daisy, and also here's Shy Guy, when they should have been in the base game. And it's just like they're releasing the games half baked, and it's a shame because I really love the Mario Sports franchise, but it's like hard to support because it's just like so scummy. It's like I'm pre-ordering the pre-order. It's like I'm pre-ordering a game to actually get the full content. It's like, man, I can't do this anymore. So
it's like a beta at launch.
Yeah,
which is insane. Yeah.
It's really sad for sure. Like,
do you think it's a developer issue, or do you think it's just an industry issue?
I think it's an industry issue personally, because this is like repeated over time here. Like this is like all of the Mario sports games on the Switch. Actually, this is like a entire like Switch trend, honestly. Because, you're getting these like half-baked games released. I'll once again reference Sword and Shield. The DLC should have been base game.
Animal Crossing.
Even though Animal Crossing as well. Yeah. Animal Crossing even more than that, actually. Because due to like the lack of content, people like strongly consider New Leaf to actually be a better game than New Horizons, despite the fact that the concept of the Switch is like in like higher opinion of like gaming than the 3DS, I would argue, at least. So you're expecting more from New Horizons. But anyway, small rant over, but definitely a Curse to Golf Mario style would be sick. Like hot take, hear me out. I would not put it past them if there was some sort of Mario DLC put in, such as like you see in like other games on the Switch where like you'll get like a Mario hat or something like that. I can't give an exact example, but that would be a cool like DLC. Like maybe there could be like a underground level where you would have like a Mario hat on, and maybe you could have some sort of like
you have the underground theme and stuff like that. And
exactly.
Then probably like a Bowser's Castle level or Mushroom Kingdom. I could totally see that happening.
Yeah, and you can see on the screen obviously there's like a shop implementation implemented for like different sort of like cards and like abilities you can have. Maybe you can introduce some sort of like Cappy thing where you can, you know, put like the golf ball in Cappy and like throw it for like a shot or something like that. And this could be where you buy it. So that could be interesting. So, you know, that would be cool. But anyway.
Yeah, there's so much you could do with this concept, 100%. It's also like this game was initially, I think, announced within an indie world, or at least it was shown off at one point within an indie world. So this developer, I'm pretty sure it's just one guy. I've seen him on Twitter. He clearly has some sort of contact with Nintendo. I don't know how active that is. Obviously, there's just no way to tell. And if this game somehow did get any sort of like even just a Mario hat for customizing your base character, that would be insane because it would draw so many people to this game. It would just be, you know, super neat.
Yeah, because you see the character here, like you can literally just, it's literally right here, this little white circle. You can like literally replace it with like an M for Mario. Yeah. Like it's right there. Yeah. So yeah.
It's just all about if Nintendo, you know, wants to reach out to this developer and give them the right to do that, because like this game, again, we cannot sing this game's praises enough, and that would be really interesting to see it in a Mario Golf related format. Like my mind is racing with power-ups. Like literally every single Mario power-up, what if you could put it on the ball, so you give the ball like the propeller suit, and then the ball like is able to
float up a little bit, or like a boomerang or something where it goes, you know, like that. I think that'd be pretty
ice flower and it slides on the grass. Like there's so many ideas for this thing, and granted, a couple of those ideas we just mentioned are like pretty closely parallels to power-ups in this game. Like there's so many power-ups in this game, so much like U-turn. You literally saw in the thing U-turn. That's like kind of like the boomerang idea. There is so much, you know, there's just so much in this game, man. It's a phenomenal title, and if somehow this developer could get the rights to Mario, which would obviously let a lot more people see this game and whatever potential Mario sequel he made, I'm all for it. That would be unbelievable.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
In terms of like probability, I guess, or how likely it is, I think Mac's idea definitely takes the cake. But honestly, I could see like a Mario hat DLC or like some items or like a level, something like that in the future.
I could see.
It really just depends on how successful the game is for sure. But you know, we are yet to see that, of course. So,
100%. I mean, yeah, it's really interesting. And just to close off this segment, like Nintendo opened the door with Cadence of Hyrule. I guess they built the door with Mario plus Rabbids. They then opened it for indie titles with Cadence of Hyrule, and then that door has been left dormant for the last like.
Good one.
That didn't work, but you know what I mean. Why is this not being followed up on? Cadence of Hyrule, I'm pretty sure sold pretty well, got really good critical acclaim. I don't really understand why Nintendo isn't doing this, because at the very least, it keeps their IP in the public eye. Like, if Metroid Prime 4 doesn't come out for another couple years, and you know the Prime HD thing doesn't come to fruition, people will eventually, the general public will forget Metroid, because Metroid Dread came out, you know, last year, and then what? Like, just wait until Prime 4. Like, if we got that Metroid SteamWorld thing, or you know, Kirby had that, you know, Kirby's Lunch Rush or whatever. Like, it would be a good way for Nintendo to not only keep their, you know, IP relevant, it would be a good way to get some indie games some exposure. These games would sell well and wouldn't take super long to make, because, of course, smaller teams, indie games, but they're naturally smaller games not being sold for full price. So, I don't know, man. I think, like, we've just thrown out 3 ideas that we've all come up with pretty easily. There's so many more.
There's an infinite amount of, like, things we could come up with.
Literally infinite. Yeah. Anyway, like, yeah, I think that's such a good idea. Anyone else want to touch on this, or we closing this?
I'm just gonna say, like, you know, if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're, you know, listening on streaming services, vice versa, tweet at us or comment down below. Let us know what you think of, you know, our indie game ideas, or if you have your own ideas, also be sure to comment below and we will respond. So there you go.
Unless they're bad.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, then we'll respond, but just say that they're bad.
Yeah.
So, okay.
This guy, man.